You know, Billy Bob Thornton went to Hollywood. No one wants to know about Billy Bob Thornton. No one's trying to cast him. He got like a couple of lines in Evening Shade, and he said, screw it. And he wrote One False Move, which was cool, and then he wrote Sling Blade because he's like, I got this up my sleeve. You know, so if you're waiting for them to find that in you, you're going to be waiting your life, your whole life, and they may never come knocking on that door. But if you have it inside of you, and especially now, and especially here, because you're at a place where you got directors and people are cutting film and doing this and that. It's like, let's go shoot this shit. I mean, so for me, my friends were like, why are you wasting your time? Come out to New York. And we found these weird glasses, and I greased my hair over my forehead, and we drove around downtown. And I was this guy, Jimmy McBride, I called myself, and I was this Boston cab driver, you know. And then some people from MTV saw it, and they threw it on the air. And then the next thing, we were having like meetings at Paramount about the movie. We got a record deal for it. And it was like, it was kind of this thing before YouTube. But the point being, we didn't wait for, you know, if I had waited for MTV to create the character and people to write it and go through a casting process, A, I would never have gotten it. And B, if I did, it wouldn't have been that good, you know? So it's hard. The business end of things is kind of hard right now. But if you can take advantage of the proactive side of things, make short, you know, Michael still works on shorts all the time, you know, or student films or whatever's intriguing and interesting, but get together and make something, because they won't believe that you can do something until you show them that you can. And when you go to an audition, they're like, well, why can't they understand that given 2 months, I would be that person? They want to see they want to see what they want that day. They don't, you know, they don't have this kind of telepathic ability to understand that you can transform and become over time. And so if you want, get a lot of your own stuff that you do that you feel you're very strong at, get it on film now while you're here and you have the opportunity. And that will serve you really, would you say, probably serve you really well.
To get to the acting business, would you suggest to just do every role that you can get, or should you be selective?
Listen, I love to act, you know, and it's when I was coming up, I'm still coming up, but you know, when I was just starting out, acting anything, you know, fuck it, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like it's, unless, I mean, if someone's asking you to commit 2 years of your life to something that you're gonna hate, then maybe you want to stop and think about that. But, you know, initially there's smaller parts, and there's, you know, who cares, man?
I mean, Viggo Mortensen, all those, everybody started on soap operas.
Sure, and this is something, it's interesting actually that you brought this up, because Donald and I had a conversation about this just recently.
Yeah.
In Spokane, Washington, where he was offered this film for, you know, a good amount of money for 6 days of work, and
it was a pretty janky film.
Yeah, but and my question was to him, because you know we're in a hotel room together. He says, you know, what do you think? Should I do it? Like, dude, can you take this material, which is clearly kind of weak, you know, to put it politely? Can you make your part interesting? Is there something you can do different?
Yeah.
To like, and that's a cool challenge.
It was kind
to
of
give
an
yourself.
interesting. It was kind of an interesting part because it was like a weird horror movie, which I haven't done before, and it's the bad guy. And the thing is, all the young people in it spend 90 pages. No, look out! Yeah. But then the one bad guy's only there for a little bit, but he has all the long speeches and the weird thing, and that's why they needed, I think, someone to kind of make something of it that wasn't really just expository, but you know,
Have some weight to it.
It's you know, we'd all love to just sit back and have, you know, I mean, the world would wonder why Daniel Day-Lewis did a Burger King commercial, but they're not going to give a shit about what any of us do. You know what I mean? Like, especially at the beginning, because the more time you spend physically on a professional set doing your thing and working with a crew and a director and stuff, the more you're going to learn. You know, I was lucky because my first job was with Mike Newell. My second one was with Kevin Spacey and Chris Cooper. And then I got Sneakers, and somehow I avoided the 911 reenactment TV show that I would have done anyway, you know, but I would have done it anyway. And, you know, our job is to act and to work. And that was an interesting thing for me because I was getting kind of snobby about it when these things came through. And it's also, this is how I support my children and my family. And I'm like, you know what, time to get back on the horse and just do a job. We're kind of circus performers, and that's, You know? So I wouldn't worry too much about it. The more
Yeah.
important thing is to start getting credits, start getting some tape together, you know, that you can show agents if you want to get a bit better agent than where you're at, or, you know, and so to work is only good at this stage.
And it isn't to say that I'm not choosy about things. I mean, I pass on stuff all the time if I just, you know, if I feel I can't do anything with it that's interesting, you know, or that's different or unique, or this is the same, whatever. But at the beginning, you know, I'd hustle for any job, man, you know. Good question. Yeah.
That's a really good point. I think if they really were honest, like at first they didn't totally know where the show was going to go. It was a little bit Gomez brother. You know, there was a little bit of a goofball element to the pilot, but what happened was we were embracing the dramatic side of the work so much, and I think they felt that we were so adept at it that they just started to be the thing that interested them to write about, and we started falling down that road, and I enjoyed it because it was, for me, it's something I know I can do. I just haven't had a lot of, you know, I just wasn't given the opportunity a lot as of late, and so it's a really good point. The show really evolved and became a much kind of darker animal, and it's interesting because the marketing of our show, the people who are in charge of the marketing of the show, who are very good at their jobs and have done it for FX forever, they'd only seen the pilot, and they'd only seen it a year before. And so they had this kind of vague idea in their mind of, no, we know what the tone is. You know, and we're doing these goofy things, arguing and fighting over a hamburger or something. And I'm about to kill the dude that I think raped my wife. Like, I don't know what you think I've been up to, like, work-wise for the last 4 months, but you guys are not on the same page with how I feel about the stuff that we're going and doing every day. And I think it's what hurt the show a little bit is that people have a sense of it from how it was packaged that it's one way, and then people who watch it have been responding. I mean, there was an article in New York Magazine about it. There was, you know, a thing in the New Yorker, and it's taken a lot of people by surprise because the gift wrapping was very different than what they found inside. So, but I think that's a good point that the writers will tell you that when they saw us running eagerly towards that part of it, and it was more fun for them to write for it, and it was more fun for us to do it. Grounded for Life was fantastic. The broader story is, and this is about we're all human beings, first and foremost. I mean, it's nice to be actors and artists. I had done an indie movie called The Tao of Steve, and though it was my 38th film, and I won the Best Actor at Sundance, and I mean, I've been in it for a while. It was my 38th film, and people are like, "Who are you? Is this your first movie? Where'd you come from?" You know, important people. So you're like, wow, until you do something on the radar, you're not on the radar. But I knew that I had a child, and I knew that I had another one coming, and I knew that if I kept doing things on the road, I would have no family ever again. And so I took this deal to develop this show, and I took a lot of flack for it because people are like, what a sellout, man. The guy gets his moment, and the next thing you know, he's doing a sitcom. And it's like, yeah, well, you know, there's a lot of big famous people who everyone kisses their ass, and they've never met their 5 kids. And they're in South Africa half the time, in England half the time, you know. And it's hard. This year's been hard on me because I have children, and I want to be a good dad.